Now, look, let's start off with some news this morning. There is some speculation that Trent Barrett could be signing on with the Dragons. What can you tell us about this situation?
Yeah, look, Trent Barrett's put his hand up to help Anthony Griffin at the Dragons. Obviously, the Dragons have got rid of Matthew Head, the assistant coach there, and Peter Gentle. This is Anthony Griffin's way of freshening things up next year, and Trent Barrett's in the mix. Look, Trent Barrett has obviously a long-standing relationship with people at the club as a player. He's still got close relationships with people on the board. And he also has the same manager as Anthony Griffin. So there's a little bit of a Wayne Beavis feel happening to that club. You've got Shane Flanagan there as well. So if you're talking to what it means for Anthony Griffin, well, he's going to be the one that decides. So if Anthony Griffin wants Trent Barrett there, well, then he'll be there. But I don't know if this means it's added pressure. This isn't coming from the club saying we want Trent Barrett in because we think that if Anthony Griffin fails, he can be parachuted into that role. It's going to be someone that Anthony Griffin wants there. And Trent Barrett's name is well and truly in the mix.
With reports that, Griffin's losing the dressing room, do you think that Barrett is seen as a connection to the younger generation of players? Again...
More modern coach,
More modern coach. Yeah. The reports are that not every player's on side with Hook, and is Barrett a calming of the waters, having, as I said, having a more modern feel than...
I think if Anthony gets him on board, I think it's a smart move, right? Because Trent has had a great relationship with the players at Penrith. He's a smart guy, smart attacking coach. As you said, he's more of a modern coach, got more of a modern feel to the game. And he's a smart guy. I think it's a really good move by Anthony if he brings him on board. And I wouldn't see it... the best thing Anthony shouldn't see it as a threat, because the best thing Anthony can do is win footy games. If Trent helps him win footy games, he'll keep his job anyway. So he should be just going to get the bloke that can help him win games.
I don't think you can deny, though, like, Hook's off contract next year.
Yep.
So effectively we know that situation. When coaches are off contract that season, decisions aren't made at the end of that season. It's March, April, May, before...
8 games, it's normally...
Well, not so much games, Reedy, but it is. And it's not about pressure on the coach. It's about decisions for the future of the club. Players want to know who the coach is. Current players want to know which coach is going forward. Outside players want to know, well, if I'm going to sign a 3-year deal with Saints, who's going to be the coach? And that decision needs to be made in March, April next year. Do you agree? Or?
Well, yeah, they do. And that's why the Dragons went early this year. I think they announced Anthony Griffin's taken that option up for 2023. It probably hasn't worked the way they hoped it would, but I don't think Trent Barrett's going to be parachuted into that role. And I'm sure you guys have heard that Dean Young is the one that everyone's talking about.
But if it's going pear-shaped, surely he's a safety net.
Well, it's a safety net for the rest of the year, but unfortunately for Trent Barrett, with all due respect, he hasn't really sold himself as a head coach in his last couple of roles. Didn't end well for him at the Bulldogs. The talk is that Dean Young would be the one that the Dragons would have there if things were to go pear-shaped with Anthony Griffin. So I think they want some, as you said, connection to the younger guys, because there's talk about Willie Talau is in the system as a coach, as one of the coaches in the younger grades there. Having that around the guys like Junior Ramon and Tyrell Sloan and Bud Sullivan to make sure there is that connection between the coaching staff and the players, which, by all reports, is sort of lost at the moment with Anthony Griffin, who's got a close affiliation with the senior players in the squad.
So you feel it does add a little bit of pressure to Griffin?
Yeah, I do. But because clearly Saints, look, let's be clear, Barrett hasn't accepted this job yet. Right? He's merely been interviewed for it. I just think it opens the door for the Saints to make a call earlier than what they would, knowing that Trent has head coaching experience.
I'll tell you what puts pressure on Anthony Griffin, the way they're playing. I don't think the assistant coach is going to make a difference. The way they're playing is pressure enough for Anthony Griffin.
Results dictate coach's future, not who your assistant coach is. That's what dictates his future. And if he's obviously going to get some time next year, because you wouldn't make him overhaul his coaching staff and then say to him, you got in the off-season, right? So they're making him overhaul his coaching staff.
They didn't make him overhaul his coaching staff. It was his decision.
You don't make that... Well, he's obviously run it by them. And you would only do that if you had a sense you're going to get some time to show that you're worthy of the job.
Or you want time to make sure you can keep the job. That's the other thing. That's what we said a couple of weeks ago.
He'll get time.
All right, moving on. Stadiums, they've been a hot topic. Should Allianz Stadium be the home ground for the Rabbitohs, considering they're only just down the road?
No.
Why?
Because... What are you talking about?
Well, it's not their home. Redfern's their home, and ANZ Stadium's been their home.
But ANZ Stadium is not in their... That's not in their realm.
I understand they signed an agreement.
They did. They signed an agreement that hinged on the fact they would sign a long-term deal to stay at the Sydney Olympic Park as long as the investment was made, which we originally said was going to be around $800 million. That's no longer the case. Then the South Sydney Rabbitohs said, that's okay, we're happy to move to Allianz, and the government's now saying no, you've got an agreement to stay at the Olympic Park. So
That's
it's
right.
confusing right now as to what's going to happen. The Rabbitohs, they want to move into the new facility at Moore Park. They might not have a choice.
But why wouldn't you just... We've just
Why is
spent
it
so
madness?
much money on this
Because
brand new
you've got a
stadium.
brand new stadium.
Why wouldn't you put as many
Pristine,
teams in
sparkling
there?
new stadium that's cost you, what, $800 million?
Why did they agree to stay at ANZ Stadium?
Because they thought it was going to get...
They thought it
Because they got a good deal.
They got a cracking
but
deal.
now they want to move to the new joint.
On the same deal, which is
Well, it's not gonna
ambitious,
happen.
right? At the moment, it's
Ambitious.
ambitious.
But don't you have to think about the fans in this situation? So a lot of their fans are in that pocket of Sydney, just down the road from Allianz
Yeah,
Stadium. Isn't it going to be easier, and you're going to have more fans at a game?
Yeah, I care about the fans, but South Sydney haven't gone down that path because they signed an agreement to play out of ANZ Stadium.
I think there's equal amount of support out west for South Sydney. It's not about whether they play west or east or where they're based. It's the fact that the facility at Olympic Park, you're so far away from the action, you're getting a second-rate product when you go to a game. With all due respect to that ground, it's not good to watch
That's why
footy
they
at.
shouldn't have signed the agreement, Mick.
Yeah, but they
got a
thought they
great
were going to get
deal.
improved. It was going to be improved into a rectangular
They got a cracking
stadium.
deal that helped ensure their financial future. They would have been silly if they ignored the deal they got out
Well,
there.
they're only
And
going
Mick's
to
right.
end up paying more to play at the new Allianz.
They were supposed to move the seats in, Dave. That was
Yeah,
the problem.
that was the issue. They're going to make a
signed
rectangular stadium.
to make it close to the action.
It
Now
may
it didn't
still
happen.
happen.
What, in 15 years' time? Well,
the
you've
way
seen
the
what's going
government's
on
going.
with Peretz and Valandis. Who
Well, if
knows
they
what's
pull
going
the
to
money out
happen?
of Penrith, which is just absolutely ludicrous, 600 million.
Now
Well,
you're
we
back in
can't
the
get
West.
50 million for Leichhardt, and the fences are
Yeah,
falling
because there's
down.
600 million going into Penrith.
It's 450.
Do you think that that's
450,
still, do you
sorry.
think that with the controversy that's caused, do you think that that's still going to go ahead at Penrith?
Well, I think if there's a change of government, I can't see it going ahead.
I think it's too far gone, isn't it, Mick? I think I think the issue isn't now whether they get a new ground, it's where the new stadium is, whether they knock down the old one or whether they build it across the road, because that's an extra 140 million, I think, if they build it across the road. So I think that's the only issue now. I think they'll end up knocking Penrith Stadium down and building a new one there. I don't think they should, but I think it's gone too far.
I don't think it is too far gone, to be honest
No,
with
I
you.
don't think so
Because
either.
we announced, remember we played the last Origin at ANZ, or Core Stadium as it is now? We played the last Origin there. We were ready to knock it down. They were in the final stages.
Yeah.
Plans were ready to go. At the last minute, they changed
I
their plans.
wouldn't be surprised if that funding is pulled. And not pulled, scaled right back.
And spend it on a core
And spread it around.
and leave Souths out there for you. And those poor Souths
A
fans.
brand new stadium, wouldn't you want to get as much use out of it as possible?
Yes.
And have you seen the
Yes, that's
stadium?
why South Sydney should have agreed to go there in the first place.
When you think of South Sydney, where do you think majority of their fans are based?
Redfern.
Which is how far from Allianz?
Danica, they should have agreed in the first place. Not agreed to go to ANZ Stadium.
The deal was too good. You couldn't knock it back. Now they just want the same deal at the new ground.
It's not going to
I hope you
happen.
don't change your mind about something in the future, because we're going to remind you about this.
Yeah, we'll
Why
bring
would
this
the
one out of the files.
Why would the government not want to get us... Like, people are bagging him for spending that much money at that stadium. Why wouldn't they want to show people...
I tell you who
why
doesn't
they
want
did it.
South Sydney there? The Sydney Roosters.
Oh, no, they don't know.
That's where it's going to
They've
get
got a
interesting.
brand new stadium for 12 games a year. I'm sorry, but the Sydney Roosters can suck it up and play and let the
It's
Rabbitohs
not
play
only
there.
rugby league being played there, though.
No, I'm saying
You'll be
that
getting
the
a phone
just a
Roosters-
call
12-game
after this show.
stadium.
You'll be getting a
But
phone
hang
call.
on, you look at Combank Stadium, great stadium, brand new stadium. We love going to games there. We love doing sideline there. We love, the fans love the experience there.
Yeah, but whose home ground is it, Danica?
This is the thing.
Parramatta.
It is Parramatta's, but they allow to have Bulldogs have games there.
Yep.
Tigers have games there.
That's why the Tigers are moving out of there, yes.
A-League have games there, I'm
Yeah.
The
pretty
Dogs
sure.
are looking to move out of there.
Panthers might be playing there as well next year if they knock down that facility.
You can't
Parramatta
just have
aren't
one
whinging.
stadium for one team. When it's
We-
on that size.
Allianz is not just a 12-game stadium. Other codes will be playing out of there. All right, and there's a reason why the Tigers are getting out of Parramatta Stadium, Combank. There's a reason why the Dogs are looking at other options, because it's Parramatta's home ground.
Sharing's caring.
Yeah.
All right, just quickly before we go, contracts, cooling off periods. What do we think? Should they have cooling off periods or no?
Yeah.
Just
No, we
contracts,
have...
contracts.
No.
Absolutely.
So a player sits back, he negotiates with clubs... hold on.
Look at the mud the Tigers are getting dragged through because the Papali doesn't want to go now.
He sat there and negotiated that deal, and his management negotiated that deal over a 1-2 month period, and then after he signs, we're going to give
Because
him
they
another
sacked
2
the coach,
weeks
the coach
to change his mind.
He signed under a particular coach.
So what
that
if the
coach
coach
got
is
him there?
sacked outside the cooling off
Well,
period?
that's so bad. You at least get a
What's the difference?
There's a cooling off period.
Can you let me know what you had for breakfast this morning? I want some of that, because honestly, you're mad this morning.
Do you-
That's ridiculous.
If you think there should be a cooling off period, do you think it should work the other way around and the club then has a cooling off period
that's
in their
interesting.
favour?
Yeah, don't mind that.
How long's your cooling off period, Dave? Can I ask?
I haven't gone that far.
Honestly, clubs will just use it to leverage more money. They'll just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to sign this player. And the club that didn't offer him enough in the first place, like Parramatta, will then turn around and say, OK, you weren't bluffing us, we'll give you more money. It's not fair.
It's not fair that the Tigers should be dragged through this
They're
stuff.
not going to be. He's got a contract. He has to go.
Yeah.
If he's not, he'll play reserve grade.
Parramatta stuffed the negotiations up. They shouldn't be rewarded for it. They stuffed it up.
And the worst part is,
and he got
Luciano Leilua left early. They obviously, Kelma Tuolangi's going to the Seagulls. The Tigers are going to be in a mess because they thought Isaiah Papali'i's coming, and he is coming. He has to be coming. Otherwise, the Tigers should hold him to his deal and make him play reserve grade.
Because I think one of the things that he said in his interview was the fact that what scared him a little bit was the fact that the coach did change. So he did sign thinking that he was going to play under a certain coach,
I think that's
and
a
that
cop
has
out,
changed.
I think he's using that as an excuse, to be honest with you, because there was talk around when he was signing with the Tigers, there was hesitation around the coach at the time. And now it's convenient to say that I don't want to go there because
Madge was the lure
he wants to stay at Parramatta. I don't think his issue is the Tigers. I think his issue is he realises he doesn't want to go to. Doesn't want to leave the
Can I say what the lure was? He got a lot more money to go there.
Yeah, because
that was the lure, not the coach.
And Parramatta,
the coach wasn't the lure.
Parramatta didn't have the money at the time. They've since lost 3 or 4 players. They now have the money to throw it at him, and he knows that.
I don't think it's the first time, though, that we've seen a player follow a coach. Like,
absolutely,
people have close relationships with certain coaches, and they feel more comfortable with them, and especially their future and what's going on. But not sure about the cooling off period. I feel like
everyone needs to cool down.